he brought up Chicago and revealed what too many people in this country don't want to accept.
It would be good to work together. So I'm thinking about, when I have some slob like Pritzker criticizing us before we even go there, I made the statement that next should be Chicago, because as you all know, Chicago is a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him, freedom, freedom. He's a dictator, he's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense, and I'm a smart person.
Whoops. But some people are saying we need a dictator. I don't need a dictator. I don't want a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm sorry. Except he is. It's what he's always said he wanted. It's what he did with his weak-ass military parade. It's what he's done with unleashing the military into the streets, saying they're his. It's what he's doing when he said he's going to withhold funds that have been appropriated by Congress, saying it's his. Any other money that flows to any universities or social safety net programs, he says they're his, and he can do whatever he wants. And some are saying that's what we need in this country. A lying propagandist dictator. So this is probably what you guys saw him talking about, and the reasons why he's so mad at JB Pritzker and brings up his weight as if Donald Trump isn't a saggy fat ass.
After we do this, we'll go to another location and we'll make it safe also. We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent, and we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this, and it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one, but they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago. Please. I did great with the black vote, as you know, and they want something to happen. So I think Chicago will be our next.
He and his Joseph Goebbels keep talking about black people as if they want them anywhere near them. I mean, it's just the ones that he thinks, I've done so well with the black vote. But every time a black person says anything to him, he calls them dirty names and says they're low IQ and subservient human beings. But he loves him some beautiful African-American women. Shut the fuck up and leave black folks out of your brain and out of your dirty ass, filthy mouth. That's all this guy is about. He thinks this means something. That's nothing but a taunt. He knows what he's doing and what he's saying. I mean, because, Chicago is 100% black, right? Shouldn't all the rest of the residents of this diverse city in Chicago, shouldn't they be offended that he completely ignores their reality, their existence? The mayor of the city talked about this tyrannical asshole.
But the president has spent hundreds of millions of dollars to arrest 9 people in D.C. That clearly he's demonstrated that he doesn't have a level of consciousness to understand what it takes to run cities, not to mention an entire country. And so, look, we're going to remain firm. We'll take legal action. But the people of this city are accustomed to rising up against tyranny. And if that's necessary, I believe that the people of Chicago will stand firm alongside of me as I work every single day to protect the people of this city. Look, the city of Chicago, one of the most diverse economies in the world, right? Again, a city that has been, founded and established on the values of working people. We're not going to surrender our humanity to this tyrant. I can tell you this, the city of Chicago has a long history of standing up against tyranny, resisting those who wish to undermine the interests of working people. We're not going to back down. We're not going to cower. We're not going to bend. We're not going to break. We are Chicago. We are the soul of America, and we will maintain that posture from now until.
He doesn't like Brandon Johnson. He doesn't like the mayor of Chicago because the mayor calls out his tyrannical approach to, I guess you can call it governance. It's just fascism. Matter of fact, whenever you do call them out for who they are, which is why it's very important to do so, let alone the people who are too afraid to do that, they then have to respond. Jeanine Pirro, who he snatched also from Fox News and had her drop her wine glass on the side, then now is working in D.C., and she had something to say about that tyranny talk.
What my response to that is,
What?
You know what tyranny is? Tyranny is when you can't walk outside and go to dinner.
Yep.
Tyranny is when they shoot you and the person walks out of jail before you get out of the hospital. Tyranny is when people are not made accountable. And they should hope that the president comes in with this unified force. And his joking only 9 arrests, I'll tell you what the good news is that this mayor can't figure out. The good news is that they're afraid to commit crimes. When you have an increased law enforcement, people in the community, especially the crime-ridden community, they're saying thank you.
Janine Pirro, for some reason, says the crime-ridden communities because that's what they consider black folks. That's that obvious coded language that's not even a dog whistle anymore. But she's worried about tyranny. Well, tyranny is when you can't go out to your restaurants and eat. Weird how ever since he invaded Washington, D.C., reservations and people going out has dropped. Yeah, crime is down and so is everything else. Everyone's on lockdown. I thought these people were upset about when COVID was on lockdown. Instead, they've got military guys in the middle of the streets with Hummers and big mine-resistant tanks rolling down the streets, and they say that's safer. But Janine Pirro wants to talk about how they've lowered crime. I want to remind you guys how little Janine Pirro gave a damn about stopping crime.
You just walked through the changes you'd like to see from the punitive aspect. What about preventative? Do you or the president plan to do anything to address the root causes of crime in D.C., such as truancy?
My job is to try to heal the victims and prosecute the criminal. Everybody else can deal with rehabilitating the individual. I honestly am not concerned about why they commit crimes. My concern is if they commit crimes. My concern is the victims of the crimes. That's my job as a U.S. attorney.
Out of time? That means he's had enough. Goodbye. Thank you. I want you to report on
But
this.
you said
This is important.
You said it's guns on the street that's causing this problem. Are you concerned that the DOJ's funding cuts to gun violence prevention programs?
Oh, stop it. We are putting all kinds of resources onto the street.
Janine Pirro doesn't care about stopping crime. Don't let someone else tell you. Let Janine Pirro just tell you, I don't care about that. I'm not into stopping crime. She also blew off another question about them defunding programs that also help with crime, that also help with getting guns off the streets, that also help with lowering crime and gun prevention violence initiatives like that. She's against all those things. All she cares about is punitive approaches to things because that's what pays the bills, bro. That's what white supremacists want. So really fast, this whole propaganda that Trump's talking about, I just want you guys to see he never has details. As I've said before, he's really, really bad at this.
When we're ready, we'll go in and we'll straighten out Chicago, just like we did D.C. Chicago is very dangerous, great place. I built great stuff there. I have the most beautiful building in Chicago, I think. But I hate to see what's happened to Chicago. Chicago is our greatest city, actually. Bob Tisch, a great friend of mine, passed away. He used to own the Giants and very successful Lowe's. He said Chicago, I think they had their main office in Chicago. He said Chicago and San Francisco, the two greatest cities in the world. Now you look at what the Democrats have done to San Francisco. They've destroyed it. I own a big chunk of the Bank of America building in San Francisco. And, it's just different. We can clean that up, too. We'll clean that one up, too. If everything works out, and we've already had calls from other cities, quiet calls from Democrats. We'd love you to come here because they've lost control of their cities. I'm not going to say because I don't want them to lose their elections. But we've had calls from Democrats and calls from people generally. We'd love you to come here.
So many Democrats are calling for him to be there. That's part of the propaganda. Yet he couldn't come up with any examples. He said he doesn't want to harm their potential races. If you listen to what he says, you can understand how much bullshit he's really spewing every time he talks. Why would one Donald Trump, who says every Democrat is trash and that we need to completely sweep every Democrat out of office, why would he be concerned with saving their seats after they quietly called you and said that they love that you're coming into their cities and their states? It's a lie. I'm going to show you guys one more clip from Brandon Johnson and what it is that he's saying versus the stupidity of what the president is saying.
look, we're going to remain firm. We'll take legal action. But the people in this city are accustomed to rising up against tyranny. And if that's necessary, I believe that the people of Chicago will stand firm alongside of me as I work every single day to protect the people of this city. Look, the city of Chicago, one of the most diverse economies in the world, right? Again, a city that has been, founded and established on the values of working people. We're not going to surrender our humanity to this tyrant. I can tell you this, the city of Chicago has a long history of standing up against tyranny, resisting those who wish to undermine the interests of working people. We're not going to back down. We're not going to cower. We're not going to bend. We're not going to break.
I wanted to revisit that because it sounds a little bit like we're standing up and we're ready to fight. Because I've been saying it since this guy came into office and started stripping people of their rights, the social safety net, representation for all the money that we pay in taxes. As he's doing this, they expect people to eventually have had enough. When their backs are against the wall and there's nothing left, they're going to fight. That's why military is already in the streets. They want you to be met by that so that they won't have to respond to it. So he's preemptively trying to send troops, National Guardsmen, federalizing the police into these cities because he knows humans, Americans, will fight back. It's odd, though, that the people that support Donald Trump in this fascist takeover of the country, this authoritarian takeover of the country from the White House, it's weird, though, that they always talked about the Second Amendment. So let me let you listen to Adam Kinzinger, former Republican congressman. He explains the real meaning of that whole Second Amendment thing that all of these red hats always talked about how they loved so much about this country. This is the reality.
Let's talk about one of the few things that are clear as day that the right and the left agree on. The Second Amendment. There may be disagreement in terms of the right to keep and bear arms individually, but the Second Amendment also guarantees the right of a state to have a militia. That militia, a well-regulated militia, was put in the Second Amendment to guard against federal tyranny. Joseph Story was an early Supreme Court member, and he said the same thing, that this is necessary to guard against tyranny. Everybody knows this. The National Guard has been viewed as the militia of a state. The National Guard can be used by a president for things like war. But if a National Guard can be activated against the wishes of the people of the state and the governor to be used against that very state, how in the world is that a militia? It's not. And it violates the spirit of the Second Amendment. This needs to be challenged all over the place. If Donald Trump can federalize a militia of a state to use against that state, he is in clear violation of the Second Amendment. Clear violation. So if you actually like the Constitution and you're not just somebody that uses it as a prop, this should make you outraged. And this is what Donald Trump is doing, a clear violation of the U.S. Constitution.
Isn't it weird how the people that were worried about the Second Amendment being violated all these years are supporting a direct violation of the Second Amendment? I mean, openly handing over their rights because all they, ignorantly thought was, I have a right to hold this gun in case a rabid, controlling, authoritarian executive comes to my front door. He just took your state militia and used it against you.